Okay, hello, good morning. Let's take a look at graphing these special cases here. This is geometry, so if you want to know what we're doing, it's geometry. Anyway, this one right here, you're going to graph it. This is the x-axis, and -5 is similar over here. Now I want you to use tick marks. And notice this tick mark is going up and down, so your line should be like that. That is an undefined slope, like 0 over some number. Number 2, y equals 3. This is your y, and 3 is right here. And notice the tick mark is sideways. This one has a 0 slope. Number 3 is a special case, and that's a 45, which looks like this. And then finally, the last one is an inversion of this, which is this brown one. So you just reflect it over the y-axis. There it is. Those are the 4 that you have to have memorized. Now let's look at the rules. Yesterday I gave you some rules. Well, let's just work it. So look here. Here's a point. So if you want to reflect it over the x-axis, you change the y. So this answer would be -2, -4. If you want to reflect it over the y-axis, you would change the x. So this answer would be 2 and 4. Always go back to the original. If you want to do this one, you change them, you don't switch. So change, change. So that's going to be a +2 and a -4. And then finally, if you want to do the origin, you just, and actually let me back up on this one. This one I think was just switch. All right, so let's switch that up. So that's going to be 4 and -2. That's right. And then finally, about the origin, you change. So here it's going to be 2 and -4, and that's correct. You can check it on your rules to make sure. And there it is. That's your bell work. Okay? All right, let's talk about today's work. On today's work, you're going to be doing a couple of things. Like here, it says reflect it over the x-axis. Well, the rule is change the y. That's the rule. Okay? And then here you got to list your points. So point G is 0, 1, 2, 3, over 3, up 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 3 and 4. So you got to list all of these points here. And then you got to do the reflection. So if you're reflecting it over the x-axis, you change the y's. So this one, G prime, is going to be 3 and -4. So you got to graph that. Well, let's see here. The x-axis, you change the y. So this one right here is going to be over 3, but down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So G prime, I'm going to use a different color, is going to be right here. And so notice that the distance from here to here, the x-axis, has to be the same as the distance from there to there. And it is. This one is up 2, so it's got to be down 2. This one is down 1, so it's got to be up 1. So the new graph for this one, the reflection over the x-axis, will look like this. So it's a flip. And if you look at it, if you take it and flip it, it looks exactly like the blue one, or the aqua. And that's the way you're going to do this whole front side. You got to list these points. This one is going over y equals 3. So let me take a look at that one. That one's a little different. So y equals 3. Y equals 3. This is your y-axis. So 1, 2, 3. So you want to reflect it over that line right there. And there is no rule for it, so you're going to have to count the spots. So look here. U is 2 spots above, so U is going to switch positions with this one. So u prime is going to be down here. So where is u prime at? Well, u prime is going to be negative 1, 2, 3, up 1. So negative 3, up 1. And u was negative 3, up 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up 5. So that one is negative 3, up 5. So on these, there's no rule, but you got to figure it out. Like, you see from here to here, the line of reflection is 2. So you're going to go 2 down. So your new point right here is going to be right there. So whatever that is, I guess it's x. This is going to be x prime. So you start at the origin, and it's over 0, up 1. So this one is going to be 0, up 1. So you're going to have to work with those, all right? So you got to do your line of reflection, and then you got to count the spaces, and then you got to go above or below, depending on where it is. And that's how you do the whole front side. Let's take a look at the back side. So on the back side of your work for today, this one right here is a rule. You're going to change the y. That's easy. You just change that one to applies. 0 is still going to be 0, and you're going to change that one. This one you got to figure it out just like I did on the front. Okay, so look at what I'm going to do. The first point is negative 3, down 5, and you got to put a dot, and that's R. The line is negative 1, which looks like this. Y is negative 1. And you got to know these special cases, or you can't do it. Okay, so there's the line of reflection. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you go up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the new point's going to be right there. And that point is going to be called R prime. And so that one is 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's negative 3, R prime. It's going to be negative 3. And then up 1, 2, 3. It looks like up 3. And that's how you do this side here. So the ones with, you know, these special lines, you have to count how many spaces to the line and then throw it to the other side. And that's how you do today's worksheet. Now this one right here says, what line is going to be the line of reflection? So down here, you want to split this in half. So your line of reflection is going to be down there to where this side flips over that. Now what is that line? Well, it hits the x-axis right here. So it's got to be x equals negative 1, negative 2. So the rule is x equals negative 2. And that's how you do it. This one's going to be x equals 0, which is the y-axis. X equals 0. This one you're going to split it up right here and flip it. And then this one, I think is going to be down the middle. And you're going to flip it. And there it is. And those are the lines there. And that's a little tricky, but there it is. Let's turn our attention now to MCR. Okay, so if you're trying to follow, there should be no confusion here. That's MCR class. So let's take a look. These right here we're going to graph. Yesterday they taught you how to use a chart. Okay, well today we're going to go ahead and solve for y. So let's do that first. So draw your line, circle the y. This is a plus, so I'm going to do a minus 10x. So basically I'm going to just take this and throw it over here, okay? So I'm going to get negative 3y equals negative 10x minus 15. Then I'm going to divide by negative 3. And when I divide by negative 3, I get y equals a positive, because I have two negatives. So that's 10x over 3. This is a plus, and that's a plus 5. So you could make a chart, but we're going to use the y-intercept and the slope. The slope is right here, not the x, okay? So that's your slope. So you're going to go up 5 to the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a dot. And it's rise over run. So you got to go up 10 and over 3. And I'm not going to count all 10 of those because that's kind of a lot. But that's how you graph it. This one right here, you're going to get y by itself. So you're going to take the positive x, and it's going to become a negative x. Then you're going to divide by 4. And when you divide by 4, you get y equals, put a 1 in front of there. So you get negative 1x over 4 minus 3. So your y-intercept here is negative 3. So you're going to go down 3 and put a dot, and then your slope is right here. So from that point, you're going to go down 1, and then to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one looks like that, and there it is, and we're done. And that's how you do today's bell work. All right. These are special cases. Copy these down on a new sheet of paper. You need to memorize these. All right, so look up here. Number 1, it's going to be y. This is your y, and it's a -3, so you're going to go down 3. And notice this is sideways, so your line is going to go sideways. So that's number 1. Number 2, it's x, and x is here, so you're going to go 1, 2, and then notice that tick mark. Don't use dots. Use tick marks. And there it is. This one has a slope of 0. This one, the slope is undefined. Okay? And that's it. And that's how you're going to be graphing today. Yesterday we did charts, but today we're going to do the slope and the y-intercept. Today's work is right here, so you got to solve for y. Now some of you finished early yesterday, and I looked at your work and I wasn't really real happy with it. But look here. I'm going to solve for y, so I'm going to move this over here. So I'm going to get y equals a -4x plus 0. And 0 is the y-intercept, so you're going to go up 0 and put a dot. Your slope is down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then over 1. You put a 1 underneath there, and there's your line. And that's how you do today's work. Okay? So solve for y. Use the slope and the y-intercept. Now this is not anything that you were not taught before. In fact, everything I'm teaching you, you've had at one time in your life. All right? Question is, are you ready to learn it if you didn't learn it before? And that's what this class is all about. Okay? All right, that's it. Have a good morning, and I'll see you in class.